Well, I wasn't going to do this until tomorrow, but I guess I'll do it now. John and I went over to see my grandmother tonight. My last living grandmother. On my father's side, which is a touchy subject for me since my father's side of the family, with the exclusion of my grandmother and my grandfather, could really care less about me. All for the fact of who I am, what I am. But I do have to give props to my grandmother for standing up to my father one year. My grandfather told me this story, actually. That she stood up to my father one year because he wouldn't admit that I was his son. And she just looked at him, he said, and said that you're not leaving my house until you admit that he is your son. Of course, by that choice, my father really didn't have any choice but to admit that I was his son. Otherwise, he couldn't leave my grandmother's house. So I do give her props for that part. She did get my cards, my Christmas cards in the mail. Don't know as to why she never sent any back. Because she didn't move from the trailer that we went to visit her back in 2009 until 9 months ago. And the other reason why she moved was because my uncle had her moved from his brother's property, because his brother and his wife, who are both retired, could not help her with the grocery shopping, could not get her water, could not do anything for her. Yet she was living on their property in a trailer, like not even 2 feet from their house. So my uncle had her moved close to him in McDonald, PA, I think he said it was. But that's not surprising. I mean, they are who they are. I mean, they've treated me like dirt for the last 20 some odd years just because of who I truly am to myself. And so John and I went to go visit my grandmother, which we found out yesterday. I found out last night that she was actually not even 5 minutes from my house. And she's been there for like 2 months. And when we go visit her, my uncle, who actually was there, I was hoping not to run into anybody, but my uncle, who was actually there, said that the place she was in, that people could come and take her out, take her to lunch, take her to dinner, bring her back, take her to their place, spend the night, then take her back to where she was at. And I'm thinking to myself, when he's saying this, well, gee, she's been there 2 months already, and she was walking and doing everything just fine up until last night, where they said that they found her on the floor in the hallway at the place that she was put into. In fact, they said that she was helping everybody else out around the floor with other patients. So, I mean, she was going to do it her way, I guess. But I find it odd that for 2 months she was over there, they couldn't tell me one iota that she was there. And if we had known, I'm sure John and I would have more than gladly taken her out to dinner or to lunch or whatever. Mostly dinner, probably. in the time that she was over there. But we didn't know, so how are we supposed to know? No one tells us anything. That's my father's side of the family. So, John and I went to visit her tonight. And my uncle who was there said that she was supposed to pass away this past Sunday. But they all could not figure out why she was hanging on. He said there's got to be something and some reason why she keeps hanging on. So of course I was throwing up all these other ideas that it could be this person or that person or whatnot. Anyways, comes down to it, me and John get ready to leave. And I bent down to her. I actually bent down on the floor next to her. I told her, Grandma, this is Jaime. We're going to take off. I said, when you get to the other side, give Moggy, which is my great-grandmother, her mother, a hug from me, and Aunt May a hug. I tell Aunt May that it's just not the same without her on the Clipper fleet, because my uncle and my aunt used to run the Gateway Clipper, actually. Actually, they're the ones that brought the Majestic up from down south to Pittsburgh. Because he was a captain of the Gateway Clipper, so they had him bring the Majestic from the south up to Pittsburgh along the river. So after I said that, I grabbed her hand, which was actually ice cold. I mean, her hand was ice cold. Ice cold. And I said, I'll see you on the other side when I get there. Bent down, gave her a kiss on her forehead, in which her forehead was really flaming hot. I mean, she was burning. She was burning up hot. After I said that, I noticed her left eye starting to tear up. Then we left. Then I guess a couple hours after we left, she passed. So I guess the person she was hanging on for, I would like to think, was for me. So, because I actually told John when we left the hospital, or whatever place that is over there, I told him, I said, wouldn't it be odd that the person she was hanging on for was for me, and now that I'm gone, she will leave. And sure as hell, a couple hours after we left, she passed away. Gotta say something for it. So, I would like to strongly believe that that's who she was hanging on for. That's the only person she was hanging on for, because she knew she was in the area that we still lived in, and there could be a possible chance that I might find out somehow. And she knew for a fact that I probably would make my way over there, which I did. So, I mean, she looked like my other grandmother when she was passing, so it didn't really affect me that much. And her passing doesn't affect me that much because I spent time with her, but not as much time as the other grandkids got to spend time with her, or the other great-grandkids got to spend time with her. And I feel bad that she never really got a chance to know my niece and my nephew, which actually are her great-grandkids. So, but that's the story of me and John's trip to my grandmother's bedside tonight. And so I'm going to stick to that. That's why she was hanging on. Because like I said, after we left, a couple hours later, she passed. So, and it was nice to see a tear in her left eye after the things that I said. Just go on the other side and give Moggy a hug for me. So, just hope she's in peace. At peace. And that God's not too harsh on her. Like I said, she did stick up for me that one time that I know of. So, let's hope he's not too hard on her when she arrives at home. And I guess that's it. This is Jamie, and I'm out. Rest in peace, Grandma. Hopefully we know where the funeral's at. We will show up, and hopefully the uncles don't cause me any grief. Like they did at my grandfather's funeral. Which is a whole another chapter in my book, whenever I get my book written. So, and that wasn't pretty whatsoever. That was not pretty whatsoever in 2003. So, I have to tell that story sometime. So, hopefully I can find a ghostwriter to write my book, and that can actually get my book written and my story told. So, ciao.